episode 2 of the SPI Podcast. This is your host, Amy Lee, of course, and I'm here today with Christopher Peterson, our team member and my husband, for those who don't know, and Sandra Williams, the wife of Todd Williams, of course, one of our great investigators and my right-hand guy on this team. And today we're talking about something that you probably haven't seen on any other paranormal shows or podcasts. We're actually getting a more in-depth look at what the family members of people who work red flag cases and demonic and malevolent cases like this go through. Sometimes when we're around, sometimes when we're not around and we're off on a case, they're left to deal with things that might be looking for us or looking to cause problems or affect family. So we're going to be talking about that a little more in depth today, experiences they've had, and what we try to do to negate these things as much as we can. So let's start with you, Chris. I know that at several of our past houses, we've moved around a little bit. There have been incidents, but there was one incident I think that was kind of your first big one early on where you saw something and I wasn't there. So take us through that incident.
Well, one night after she left, I was just sitting on the couch, usually doing what I normally do, watch TV. Usually fall asleep shortly after that. But I was just sitting there watching TV, and we have this china cabinet that's on the side of the couch, which it's glass, so you can kind of see through it. And so I'm just sitting there, and I start feeling like something is looking around the corner of it at me. And, you know, at first I didn't really look over there. I just had that feeling. I'm like, I don't know, it's just my nerves. You know, she's gone, I'm here by myself, blah, 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 kind of thing. And so then I keep having that feeling, and it's like, so I kind of look over there. I don't see anything, so I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then, so then I continue to watch TV, and then, so I look over there again, and it's like, at first I thought it was like a little kid, and I'm like, well, our child's not here, so it's not him. And so then I look again, and for a second I seen it, and then it disappeared. But what it looked like was like a goblin kind of gremlin looking thing. It was person-like but animal-like kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of that was definitely a trip there. But yeah, that was my first
Didn't
encounter
hurt you
alone.
or anything, thankfully.
No. Didn't talk to me or nothing.
And of course for you it's probably a little easier than it is for Sandra because you used to be out in the field and you did see and deal with some of these things, whereas other than what you went through, now not everybody does know, but of course Todd was a former client of SPI, so Todd and Sandra, y'all actually had your own haunting.
Yes.
That we helped you with and worked out.
Yes, you did.
So that's a beautiful thing, but you thought you were done, and then he joined up on the team, and you get to keep experiencing things, right?
Yes.
So do you remember what your probably first incident once he joined the team might have been?
So the demon woke me up at the foot of my bed, and can't describe what it looked like, but I remember the red eyes and the white claws. That was the scariest thing
So you're
I've
just
ever
asleep.
seen.
He's out on a case. And did you hear something, or
No.
what was it that
It just
startled you and woke you up?
I don't remember hearing anything. Honestly, I just remember being asleep and my eyes were made to open. And it was staring at me. Staring me down.
Did it
And I-
disappear, or did you
No,
get up and
I
run?
closed my eyes and hoped like heck it went away. And lucky for me it did.
Well, we're glad of that, and glad that you weren't hurt or anything in that situation.
Yeah.
I'm glad that wasn't my first one.
Yeah, she had it harder than you did.
Wow.
So, one of the things that we talked about was in the last episode, our pilot episode, of course, we went to the Old Park Hotel. And there was an incident in the doll room where we were talking to a negative entity of some sort who did confess to actually having come to our home in the week before we went to Old Park. Now, for those that don't know, this kind of thing is common for people like us who do these kind of cases. Often things will start to show up a week or so before we're on a new case or going to a new place. So, we do take that with a grain of salt of maybe spirits are just letting us know they're there, wanting our attention. And usually, of course, we're going to help. Now, Old Park, of course, being a famous location, we weren't going there to clear anything, but obviously they still knew we were coming. So take us through that little experience, what you experienced the week before I left.
Well, that night, Amy was upstairs and I was in the music room working on music, and I think I had the door open. Sometimes I had the door open, sometimes not, but I think I had the door open. And I'm just doing my thing in there, and all of a sudden, I hear, something like shuffling around. So I'm just assuming, Amy's downstairs. You're downstairs. And so I go on, and then I hear this like little girl giggle, and I'm like, well, we don't have any girls, and that did not sound like Amy. So then I'm like, well, that's really weird. So then I come out to the kitchen to investigate, and that's when I find pots and pans in the middle of the kitchen floor. So then I'm like, okay, well, so then I tell you, and then, like you said, then when y'all went and investigated, you asked, and they're like, yeah, that was us.
It. Yeah. And so people can understand the context. We have an island in our kitchen that actually has shelving, goes deep recessed into the island, which is where these pans were. So we have 2 cats, we have 2 dogs, none of them have posable thumbs. They cannot pull out big heavy frying pans with heavy glass and metal lids. So, and they were stacked, I think you said, like literally
it's like somebody said, okay, because they're stacked, and because you can pull them all out at one time. And it's like somebody just, and now that I think back on it, and once I seen the pots and pans on the ground, I'm like, that's what I heard, because that's what it sounded like
pulling up.
Like kind of like a drag of metal,
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, that's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a little more intense than the first one.
So he had, kind of that weird, like off-color, kind of goofy incident. I heard that you had something kind of similar but different with a teddy bear of all things.
Yes.
So tell us about the teddy bear incident, because we're all curious about this.
It was crazy in the house that day, and back and forth, came in the living room. My teddy bear that I have on the back of the couch was on the floor, face down. So, the animals knocked it over. I just put it back up there. Just so happened I remembered that I laid the teddy bear towards the wall. And then I got up, and went and done something, came back, and the teddy bear was laying on its other side, and it was looking at me. So it scared me enough that I picked it up and tossed it in the other room. And now it's gone.
Oh, you got rid of it?
Now I got rid of the bear.
Oh, wow. Same day? Or?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Weren't taking any chances. I know Raiden and Jason are not here, two of our other team members, which we hope will be on a later episode of this podcast at some point. But they had an interesting experience in one of our old houses where we were not present. So Chris and I were both at work. I was a little behind on reviewing some footage, of course. So Jason and Raiden were nicely helping me out and sitting in the SPI room. They were going over some footage. Now that is a different room than this one. At that time we were in a different house, so different space. Yeah. One of the things that is the same, if we can see this little guy behind me back here, we call him Edward. And he was in that room. We actually had a piano that was in that room at the time. And he would sit up on the very top of the piano. Now, it's very important to say the piano's deep, so he wasn't prone to falling or anything in any way. And he was sat very deeply back, leaning against the wall, feet down in a position that would also steady him. So he did not move around. They were reviewing footage for a demonic case that we were working at the time. And they heard a noise behind them. The piano was kind of to their right, diagonal behind them. As it was relayed to me, and like I said, we will go over this with them at a later time. But they both turned to see Edward here, literally turn around and crawl down the piano, was as it was relayed to us. It bothered them enough that Raiden folded him up in two pieces. And wrapped him up and put him in the closet, facing the back corner of the closet. And of course, when I get home, I hear, "Oh my God, you gotta hear what happened with Edward. Edward climbed down the piano." And I'm like, okay, you guys are pulling my leg. Like, y'all are messing with me. No, they weren't. Their stories never changed on this.
Well, that particular room, that particular house and that particular room, I had my music equipment in there as well. And every time I went in there to play and Amy wasn't there, I always felt just off and creepy. So I didn't play a lot of music in that house.
No, you actually didn't.
Yeah.
And we had our laundry room was actually across the hall in that house. Mm-hmm. And we had a couple of incidents where our dogs or our animals would go and sit at that door and just growl.
Well, they would growl and bark down the hall a lot.
Mm-hmm. That too.
Or look down the hall facing the laundry room, kind of. Yeah.
Now, there was another incident you had in that house with dishes, I want to say, or you were doing dishes.
Yes, I was, you left for a case, and I started doing the dishes, and our kitchen is set up, like, the hallway and all the rooms and stuff are behind you if you're at the sink, and then the dishwasher's to the right. So every time that I loaded the dishwasher, I could kind of see down the hallway. So I'm doing my thing and listening to the TV, just like normal stuff. And at one point I turned to load the dishes and I see this. It was the shape of a cat, but it didn't look like a cat. It kind of looked like a really small miniature cheetah or a leopard or something. Like had spots on it, like a leopard or a cheetah. And it looked like it kind of looked like it flew out of the SBI music room through the hallway into the laundry room, but it could have looked like it jumped too. So I kind of caught it midair right when it was in the hallway.
We have no wildcats in the house.
No, nothing.
SPCA don't come after us.
But so that was that got me a little shaky because the rest of the night the rest of the time I was doing the dishes, every time I loaded the dishwasher, it's like
ready to go.
And I think at one point that night I might have told whatever happened. What did I say? Something. You don't belong here. You're not wanted here, and she's not here anyway. Which I say quite a lot when stuff does happen, or if I do feel kind of off, I just say, "She's not here. I don't want nothing to do with you."
Do you say something similar when you have these occurrences?
Yes.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you tell them?
I tell them to go away, or I'll read the prayer card, or, pray.
Yeah, that works in certain situations,
Yes.
depending what you're dealing with. Now you had a kind of a creepy occurrence. There's a lot of people who won't know what this is. Clients that have experienced heavier demonic cases may be familiar with it. But it's best we can describe, it kind of sounds like a bony snake type entity. Or even like if you had like a wind chime made of bones and the bones kind of hitting on each other like that. It's the best way I could think
Like
of to
a
describe
slinky made
that.
out of bones.
Something like that, yeah. And what we refer to those as is outriders. They are entities that are aligned with demonic entities. They kind of assist the demonics in a way, and we won't get off into the weeds and the specifics of that, but it is a very frightening thing. And you had an incident when he wasn't around with one of these, right?
Actually, y'all were fixing to go on a case and discovered it, but it found me first to intimidate me. I was fixing to head to bed and sounded like leaves rattling in the corner of the bedroom, and what is that? No big deal. I laid down, and as soon as I laid down, I started hearing clacking, like bones clacking together, and it was like moving like a snake would move, just real slow, but clack, 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 clack. And let's just say I got up and left the room very quickly.
Now that particular, was that possibly after, like we'd done an asylum or something like that? Was that
I can't recall. I don't believe so. I think it was a personal case.
just a demonic case? Okay, well, there's definitely a lot of things that happen to our families, and Chris and I know we had another incident in one of our older homes several years ago, where I was actually present for that one, but it was something that followed us home, and you were there. As he said, we do have a son. He is on the team, of course. That would be Raiden. And I actually saw what I thought was Raiden, but it was not. In that home, we had a long hallway. We were working a heavy demonic case at the time. I was walking down the hallway to go into our spare room, which was off this way. Ray's room was off this way. And I looked into the spare room as I passed to see what I thought was Ray. However, it was weird because he was moving like this, like a little kid that was trying to play punk, like he was crouching.
Yeah.
And he went behind.
Like
we had
sneaky kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, we had like some boxes or some furniture. I think we were pretty new to the house, and they were stacked in the corner. And it went like in front of them and then behind them where I couldn't see it. So in my head, I'm trying to rationalize. Okay, this is Ray playing some weird joke on me. He's hiding in the. So I walk around, and there was not room once I got back there to look at it between these boxes and where he could have even fit. Much less in that position doing it at that speed. It's just not possible. So I came out, his door was closed to his bedroom, walk over, knock, he's in there. He would have had to pass me. The room was in my sight, so definitely no way that it was him. So that was a fun one for all three of us, I think. Obviously, all of these little things follow us around, and you've had other things too. You've had odd noises and things like that.
Noises, and I've seen him mess with my cat's collar, where she's laying down and play with the bell on her neck, and she's looking around like, what is going on?
At least that's a nice one. That's like a sweet one.
I don't know.
Still
Uncomfortable. Moving without my permission.
Yeah, mostly with my stuff, I don't really see a lot or hear a lot. There is quite a lot of times where I'll have a feeling, that maybe somebody passed through, or
like a feeling of being watched, or
somebody's snooping.
Right.
Because of what you do, when I do get this feeling, I feel they're snooping. They're not really here for me.
Right.
Which, they are very clear that I don't want nothing to do with them. So, but that's the main thing that usually I feel is, something's here and they're just snooping around. And usually that's when I say, she's not here. I don't know what you're doing here, but she ain't here. She'll be here later.
So,
Amy blesses the house all the time.
Yeah.
Frequently for me.
Todd does that for you.
Me personally, my faith is very strong. So I feel that's a very big protector of me.
It's important when you do this, for sure.
Yeah. I know a lot of people pray out loud. I don't. Maybe I should, but usually it's I talk to him out loud. Like I said, she's not here. Something to get out of here.
Well, and that kind of gets into the next question, which is for both of you, but I'll kind of start with you on that. Is, obviously y'all say things like, okay, they're not here, go away, or you're not welcome, but how do you deal with it? Because when these incidents happen, it's not going to be the last time. It hasn't been the first time, but it's not going to be the last, and there will be other things. How do you mentally decide, okay, I'm going to find a way to be okay with this and keep going?
I'm not sure of a clear answer on that one, but, I just try to remain calm. I used to get mad and yell, get out of here. But now it's like, carrying on. The less I'm worried about them, the less they bother me.
So you've learned not to
exactly.
feed into the negative and the fear.
Exactly.
Good for you. That's a big key to this, and that's something we have to do in the field.
Excuse me. I do kind of the same thing, but I have so much faith in Amy that I feel she keeps me protected even when she's not here.
No.
So thanks for that.
I try.
Because without that, I don't know if I could be here by
Invisible
myself.
arms reaching to you too, even though I'm not there. But yes, we do everything we can, obviously. We all bless our homes. We all do whatever we can to keep our families safe.
A very positive
environment
Atmosphere. is
key
for sure.
Yeah, just like we tell our demonic clients and even our malevolent clients, negative entities feed off of negative fear, emotions, anger, all of these reactions. So if you don't give them that, if you keep your space light, bright, happy, make it a nice, happy, safe place to be, then those entities don't tend to want to stay around. For people who do what we do, they may still show up. They're, like you said, they're often spying, or they're trying to see, can I mess with family? so that I upset you, and then you in turn call him, and now he's distracted on a case. So
Yeah.
there is some of that, definitely, that trickery that goes on, and nightmares and things, I think, too. I know that affects team members more. I don't know if you guys really get the nightmare part of it.
Sometimes, but not much anymore.
That's
I think it was like in the beginning when he first started with SPI.
Yeah, I always watch funny stuff, comedians, anything funny, anything positive when I'm usually here by myself. So. But lately I've been hearing some stuff up here in this room. So
this room has been a factor since we moved in. So our little SPI room seems to have a little energy of its own.
Well, you had a few things up here.
I've had a few things happen in here, actually, yes. Actually, if you want to, we have our cameraman here, if he can hand me, there is a stuffed Stay Puft. Okay, so this little fella here, who our cameraman has just handed me, he has a little button. I don't think he plays at all anymore. Yeah, he can't make any noise anymore. He's been dead for quite a minute. When we moved here, I had this little tote of stuffed animals, and he was at the top. They were kept in here because we were remodeling, and so this was our closet, our storage, a lot of things when we first moved into here. But this guy was just sitting up on top, so nothing was pressing on him. Very important for that to be said. Nothing pressing on his little button. He was just sitting here. And one night I was in here trying to find something, looking for something, and he used to sing the Ghostbusters theme song. He would press his little button and he would sing it. So I'm rooting around and I hear there's something strange in the neighborhood coming from our little friend who no one was touching. And that actually happened several times. And then when I actually did take him out of the tote and put him up where he was going to be, he no longer worked. So I think that they played with him so much that they fried him. I really do. Crazy.
Yeah. And he's not battery operated?
Yeah, he's battery,
but
I think they overdid it so much he won't work anymore. So.
Yeah. Poor Stay Puft.
So we do, though, and I want to say this too while we're on cam, we thank you both and your children, of course. Our son obviously is in this too, so it's a little different for him. But you guys are troopers for staying and dealing with that. And for our people who are watching, who are our clients or who are going through these things, just know that you're not alone. As we always tell you, we are with you, but there are a lot of other people that are attached to us that get affected by this too. And these things can be very far-reaching. It does take a community to help somebody who's going through this. So thank you both for supporting us and supporting these clients and doing so and letting us do this work so we can save these people.
We're just glad to help.
Yep. Glad to help.
So, that is Chris and Sandra's take on what it's like to experience living with somebody who does this, unfortunately for them. And stick around here because we're going to show you some cool footage of some cases that we've been on that were heavier cases where maybe some of these things kind of came from, and give you some cool visuals coming up here.